The new technical regulations for F1 season 2022 will change everything. There is a revolution coming in Formula One. Perhaps it's already here. The new technical regulations will lead to more overtaking and exciting races. In 2022, Formula One is set to extensively overhaul its technical regulations, with hopes that the new formula will bring more exciting racing, both in the immediate and in the distant future. First of all, the cars will look very different to those seen in recent seasons. As part of a huge push to increase the number of exciting races, the aero formula has undergone plenty of development, but there's plenty more changes under the skin. The largest differences to the 2022 F1 aerodynamics package is the return to a ground effect formula. Ground effect underbody tunnels have not been permitted in Formula One since 1982, but the calls for their reintroduction have grown rather loud in recent years. F1 seeks to reduce the current reliance on wings for downforce, which have been blamed for the dirty air that makes close-quarters racing difficult in modern racing, which made the idea of a return to ground effects more attractive to the rulemakers. By creating a very remarkable entry at the front of the floor, the air moves through two Venturi tunnels, which flows under the car and is squeezed through the point closest to the ground, developing an extreme low-pressure area. This further creates a large amount of suction underneath. It all simply means the floor is relied on for more downforce and reduces the wake produced by various bodywork components. The overhaul in technical regulations has seen teams build their cars differently. The F1 new car was originally intended to debut in 2021, but the rules package got postponed by a year due to the lockdowns which delayed and heavily disrupted the 2020 season. We got a first proper glimpse of a full-size 2022 car ahead of last year's British Grand Prix as F1 unveiled a promotional show car in the Silverstone paddock. The new generation F1 machine will turn its wheels for the first time during the opening pre-season test, which gets underway on February 23rd in Barcelona. F1's 2022 car will feature a ground effect floor, simplified front wing and end plate, a prescriptively shaped rear wing, and wheel covers. It'll ultimately run on Pirelli's brand new 18-inch tires as the sport waves goodbye to its long-used 13-inch wheels. Furthermore, discussions went over the 2022 engine regulations that began back in 2017 and were finalized in May 2018. The proposed regulations involved removing the motor generator unit heat, which will help simplify the technology used in the engine whilst adding to the maximum rev limit. Further, the proposals dubbed plug-and-play, which would see engine suppliers bound by the regulations to make individual engine components universally compatible, allowing teams to source their components from multiple suppliers. The manufacturers would also be subject to a similar regulation concerning commercially available materials. The proposals were also designed to simplify the engine technology whilst making the sport more attractive to new entrants. However, as no new power unit suppliers committed themselves to entering the sport in 2022, the existing suppliers proposed to retain the existing power unit formula in a bid to reduce overall development costs. The given quota system of power unit components ensures that teams are given a limited number of individual components that can be used before incurring a penalty. The exhaust system would be added to the list of components, with teams allowed to use a maximum of 6 throughout the championship. The sport intends to introduce a series of standardized components from 2022, with the regulations calling for the standard components to be in place until 2024. These standardized components include the gearbox and fuel system. Some aerodynamic components, including the tray that sits at the front of the car floor, will also be standardized to restrict teams' ability to develop the area and gain a competitive advantage. Also, the championship will witness a change from 13-inch to 18-inch wheels. The 18-inch wheels were previously introduced into the Formula 2 Championship in 2020 to test the tire behavior, and was originally proposed that the use of tire warmers, including electric blankets that are designed to keep the tires at the optimal operating temperature when not in use, would be banned. However, the decision was later reversed after opposition from the tire company Pirelli. The tire warmers will instead become a standardized piece of equipment, with all teams required to use the same product with a view to eventually phase them out altogether by 2024. While Pirelli remained the official tire partner and provider, BBS would partner and supply the rims to all Formula One teams from 2022 as part of a 4-year deal. Recently, a number of footages of teams testing the bigger tires have been seen. The new compounds are designed to meet a specific overheating goal. The amount of overheat when tires slide will be reduced, which inherently aids closer racing. The lower profile tires also have the added advantage of reducing the sidewall deflection changes. The teams spend a lot of effort on simulating the airflow regimes around the tire shapes and interactions with the car bodywork. Reducing the sensitivity in this area will be a benefit in both the car design process and resources required, which is something that is particularly important in the era. Do you like this video? Make sure to like and subscribe to never miss out on one of our videos. F1 cars in 2022 will feature over-wheel winglets for the first time, as well as wheel covers. The inclusion of wheel covers will send airflow through the wheels, which aids teams in increasing downforce, but it also adds to that chaotic aerodynamic wake coming off the cars. While the changes to the 2022 regulations limit what teams can do around the tires automatically, F1's motorsports team wanted to take a belt and braces approach by adding a physical seal to prevent engineers intentionally directing disruptive airflow out through the wheels. For the over-wheel winglets, they will only help control the wake coming off the front tires and direct it away from the rear wing. That has been a role traditionally performed by vortices from the front wing, but in a way that makes them hugely sensitive when running in following car conditions. The winglets will achieve the same thing, but in a way that is more aerodynamically resilient in close racing. In recent years, specifications to the front wing and nose concept have been raised, but now they have been completely rethought. Although front wings have been getting progressively simpler in recent seasons, the 2022 F1 car will feature a totally new front wing shape. Maintaining that philosophy of the 2022 car, the new front wing's job is to both generate consistent downforce when running closely behind another car and ensure that the front wheel wake is well controlled and directed down the car in the least disruptive way. The 2022 car has been put through over 7,500 simulations to get to this point, and creating the 2022 car has not been a simple exercise. F1's motorsports team have run approximately 7,500 simulations, creating around half a petabyte of data, which is the equivalent of a third of the 10 billion photos on Facebook, or 10 million drawer filing cabinets full of text documents. The 7,500 simulations also took 16.5 million core hours to solve, meaning that if they'd been done on a high-spec Intel i9 quad-core laptop, it would have taken until the year 2492, 471 years from now, to get the solutions. The 2022 car was also developed in exclusive sessions in Sauber's wind tunnel in Switzerland. There, 138 baseline configurations were experimented with for over 2 years, and around 100 wind-on hours. Meanwhile, the teams were also granted regulatory freedom to test the current 2022 car model basically for methodology development in their wind tunnels, with given condition that they do not alter the shape. Internally, 2022 car iteration was known as the uniform baseline, and the feedback on the uniform baseline from the teams has been a crucial part of the design and development process, and more is to come when the season starts in Bahrain in March. F1's motorsports team are confident that they have come up with a set of regulations that can achieve their objective of closer racing, while not exclusively so prescriptive that they prevent creativity. It's only a matter of time before their ideas and efforts towards the ideas are truly tested. Do you feel the rules are exciting? Let us know in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, share with your friends and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notifications bell to stay tuned to our channel.